Good morning, everybody. It's Susan Phelps.
And Judy Atari.
And today we're back out at the Lakewood Ranch office for the Berkshire Hathaway Florida Realty Network. And today we're here to talk to you about the market report for February. Keep in mind that it's March,
Yeah.
but we don't get these statistics till the third week of the following month from Florida Realtors.
Yeah.
So we're going to drop in this chart for you to follow along as we look at the statistics and give you a little more information. And okay, so Judy, looks like the same old, same old.
Yep, not too different.
Okay, so that's our report for the day.
We're still busy and gratefully so.
Yes, we are.
Where do we want to start? Sarasota?
Sure, let's start with Sarasota. What we see is a continued decrease in the number of sales from last year to this year, and then from January to February, which is really not unusual when you look at the history.
This time last year was like the Wild West rodeo crazy, so.
Right,
yeah.
and it really is not too much of a decrease, but we're still seeing an increase in prices.
Yes.
Our single family homes went up 10% in price, and the condos went up a little over 4% in price. And then we have a continued increase in inventory. Pretty much the same report as last month.
Yep. So Manatee's similar. Single family homes in the county, we still had over 500 single family homes sales, and that means closings. That doesn't mean things going to contract. That means done, closed,
right.
Complete. That was down about 10%. And like I said, last year we couldn't get a house on the market quick enough to be sold. So this is still pretty solid market. Condo sales, we had 195, which is down about 20%. That might be as much supply as anything for condo sales. We don't have quite as many in Manatee County. Single family home median price has increased in Manatee as well. It's currently $490,000, up just about 2.5%. Condo price median is $369,900. It's up about almost 14%. Time to contract, that's really significant in our market, has changed.
Right.
What that means is from the time we list it to the time it goes pending,
okay,
is 39 days for single family homes and 29 days for condos. This time last year, it's up 550%. This time last year, it was a couple of days and things were under contract. And a lot of times that just depended on how long it took the buying agent to get everything to the selling agent and get it done. Because
right.
things were just boom.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. Supply for Manatee County, got my trusty old laptop here. Single family month supply is 3.1 months. And when we explained last month, and condos are 3.4 months, that means if everybody who wants to buy a house bought a house, we'd run out in
right.
3 months. It's still a seller's market.
Right, and I forgot to mention in Sarasota, it's very close to the same,
yep.
2.9 months. So it's still a seller's market.
Yep, so 6 months is kind of the benchmark for those that haven't seen this before.
One thing we didn't mention, Judy, was the pending sales. And pending sales for February are higher than in January, so when we get back our statistics from March, we're probably going to see an increase in sales compared to the last 2 months. Maybe not as much as year over year, but nonetheless, right. We're on an upswing. And historically, again, that is possibly a result of our seasonal buying.
Visitors, yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Because you and I have had a ton of, well, not a ton, but many out-of-town visitors in the past 3 or 4 weeks. A huge increase for us from the past few months. So we're seeing it on our little tiny local version.
Well, we've mentioned it before when we see reports from the market in general, the market in the U.S. and how different it is in Sarasota. I was looking at an article about housing starts, and that the overall from the U.S. Census report that we are seeing a rise in housing starts across the U.S., but mostly what we're seeing is the increase in certain areas. So here again, the U.S. is divided into regions, and what we're seeing in the different regions varies. And you mentioned, I said, well, we're seeing a decrease in housing starts in the Northeast and in the West, and what did you say?
I said they all moved here. Or they're still moving here.
Exactly. But the builders in general are having a better confidence level. They're feeling better about building and continuing to build, and they're expecting a rate decrease by the end of the year.
Mortgage rate increase.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Not
decrease.
A pricing like a house rate. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We actually had a slight decrease from last week, but we'll see.
And again, I want to remind everybody, the more classes and meetings we have on this is not high interest rates. This is not the interest rates that you saw in the 80s and the 90s. These are kind of normal, rates.
I spoke to someone yesterday that reminded me they paid 16% years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had abnormally low for an extended period of time, and now we're kind of normalizing.
Right.
But there's always area to go down a little bit.
So from a national level, from the big picture here, builders are still grappling with supply chain issues. Now, and Judy, you'll speak to that on a local level, but they still have some material supply bottlenecks. And with the changing mortgage rates and the increased jitters in the banking industry, we're still, the builders are still feeling confident that with the increase in starts from last month, we're gonna, the demand is still there. We still don't have enough housing.
Right.
Right.
True.
Okay.
Yep. So locally, our biggest challenges last year were trusses, windows, and heating and cooling units.
Right.
Currently, we're seeing trusses like ahead of the game. Well, some builders almost aren't ready for them. Windows are not on the delay they were. I'm working on replacing some windows at home. There's still a wait.
Right.
But we're talking 6 months, not 12 months from time of order. And when you contract your house, your builder's ordering them right away.
Right.
So those delays are decreased significantly. There are still, one of the things a couple of my builders ran into is just labor. They have a vendor who does things and they just can't get enough guys to do it fast enough. So that's been like, they might be a walkthrough delayed a week or two because the plumber guy just couldn't physically get everything done.
Right.
And not for lack of work or showing up, it's just there's a lot of demand.
And so that results in a shorter building time.
Yep.
And this is music to our ears and to the buyer's ears, but it's still kind of hard to believe when I hear a new build is going to take 10 months now.
Yep, I was at 6 builders yesterday with one of our customers, and
Judy's like the
Energizer
bunny
bunny.
rabbit. She just keeps going.
We talked to a lot of people yesterday, and we were hearing from 7 to 8 months. 8 months is probably more realistic. 8 to 12 months was still being quoted, although a few of the builders that were previously saying 12 to 15 were alluding to maybe a 10-month time period. So, and that was consistently on different levels of builders, different,
Right.
communities, different companies. And one thing also we're seeing now is we're seeing more builders getting back to be built homes. For a while, they were only doing inventory homes just to try to get homes finished for people.
Right.
And we're still seeing inventory spec homes. Those are still there, but we are seeing a lot more to-be builts.
Okay.
And a lot more flexibility. And some builders are now starting to build pools again with the homes.
Yay, pools. So Judy, with 6 builders that you saw yesterday, are they still managing to offer incentives that make buyers more comfortable with either a rate buy down or closing costs paid for?
Some were. One builder mentioned that they had pretty aggressive offers for March. They were actually offering what somebody who works for the company would get, because they do get some discounts.
Oh.
And the way the salesperson said, she goes, we were too successful this month, so we know they're not doing it next month. She's like, we sold a lot of homes at a good discount. We do not expect an aggressive incentive in April.
Right.
For that one builder. And they never know month to month, and they really don't know. So when the salesperson says, I don't know if this will be extended, they don't.
They don't.
But I'm feeling that they'll still offer some incentives, but I don't think they're as anxious as they were in December and January, because there was a lot of unknowns turning over the year.
Right, but it's certainly a conversation to have.
Yes.
With the builder's lender.
Yes.
And you're not going to get that kind of result from using an outside lender. And even though you might have a great established relationship with a lender, it's so much more, it's so seamless.
Right.
Usually with a builder's lender and the builder's closing company. So, and we haven't found any banks that are able to beat their rates.
No.
Or their incentives.
Nope. I am hearing a little more, if they're offering incentives, they are being creative and offering a similar incentive to a cash buyer.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're seeing a little more of that.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So that's about it for new homes.
New homes.
Just to throw in some information for sellers that are thinking about bringing their properties to the market. We're seeing, an increase in our resale inventory. So the only thing that's really slowing that down for sellers, which means we've got an increased days on market, it might be because they're actually a little timid about selling their own home and buying a home at this increased rate. So if it's a mortgage to a mortgage, that might not be the perfect time for a seller, but if it's a mortgage to a cash buy, it's a great time.
Yep. And I think some people used to be a little nervous too, because we had such a slim rental market here. We have a lot more rental options, a lot more apartments and things.
Oh, yeah.
So that's helping people with that gap in between selling and buying too.
Right.
Because that did help. Some people are like, where am I going to live? What am I going to do? I'm going to not sell. So some people are more confident that they can get here and have a temporary place.
Right.
So that's kind of.
And buyers need to be flexible about those timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're going to have to rent for a short term and put your things in storage. That's not the end of the world. A lot of people do it. Sometimes I'm amazed at people's flexibility when it comes to making big moves and then making another move.
Yep, definitely.
So buyers are continuing to come into the market, but some of them are holding back. So if you're a seller for a resale property, look at what the builders are doing. Mm-hmm. And offer similar incentives. You may not be able to give them as much, but and you may have to raise your price to get that cost covered. But it's something to consider. Yep. Buying a person's rate down or paying for their closing costs, and then if it's a tight margin, covering that with a price increase as long as it appraises out.
Right, and buyers will sometimes ask for that in a concession. They put an offer in,
right,
and they'll ask, "Okay, will you offer, put this much money toward buying down my rate?"
Right.
And sellers can do it, or they can do less than the amount asked.
Right.
Just because it's requested doesn't mean it's a make or break.
Yeah.
So
it's a negotiation.
Yeah. Yep. And if you are thinking of selling, we always forget to mention this, and you're out of state, we can help you find a real estate agent, particularly a Berkshire Hathaway agent, in your area, and that way we can kind of keep in touch with them and help you along the way from afar.
Right.
So don't forget, we can do that, and we can help you sell a home here too. We don't just do new stuff.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so anything else, Judy? What were we going to talk about?
One other thing I wanted to talk about. We were talking about buying. A lot of people are talking about buying the rate down right now. It's super trendy. But something that might be overlooked if you have a home that's a few years old is maybe offering a home appliance warranty, a home warranty with your sale. So, you know, a seller will pay first year of certain companies' home
Yeah,
warranty.
right.
And that covers most of the appliances and the HVAC. They all have different stipulations and different
Right.
coverages, just like any insurance type policy. There's going to be different restrictions at certain price points. But that might be a real creative way. Like, yes, my appliances are 5 years old,
Right.
but I'm warranting them the first year so you don't have any surprises.
And it's not terribly expensive, but it does offer a level of comfort
Mm-hmm.
to the buyer about, you know, getting into an older home. I think that's about a wrap, Judy. What do you think? Anything else?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I think our big message that we keep reading is don't follow the national news and the trends, because our market in Florida is a different, hyper local little
Very in
unicorn
demand.
all of its own.
We've got 1,000 people a month moving here. I think that
The
statistic
state,
is
crazy.
just overwhelming. So if you need a realtor, whether it be to sell your home out of state or to buy a home here or sell your home here, keep in mind that you need to talk to a realtor that is hyper-focused, that understands your area, that's knowledgeable about the market here.
Definitely. And there. So, yeah. And again,
Right.
we can help you find it and help you coordinate that on both sides.
Right. And we sure would like you to subscribe and give us a thumbs up
We like the like.
and comment, because I love getting those comments.
Yes, we
And
do.
I try to answer them as soon as possible. So
I wanted to thank, we've had a lot of new customers reach out to us this month, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody who has, and that we're starting to work with again, because that's why we do these videos, to educate and to get new people to work with. It's great.
right. Okay then. It's March 23rd.
I'm feeling my own March Madness. But
Oh,
yes.
okay. So I better step away.
We've just been busy, happily busy.
All right. We hope you enjoyed this video. And until the next time, bye-bye.
Bye.